Hey guys, what's up? This is Jeet. Welcome to the channel. And yes, you guys read the caption absolutely right that stop putting your money in the savings account and start putting into this. Into what? Into TFSA, that's tax-free savings account offered by the Canadian government. But before jumping onto the video, I would like to share my own views about the investment. Before jumping onto any kind of investment, you guys need to make sure you have $2,000 to $3,000 into your savings account. And the reason behind this is very crucial. What if you put all your money in the investments and after a month you need that money to pay a big bill or something unexpected expense showed up and you need to make that payment? What you have to do now, you will open up your investment account, sell all those investment, and then go ahead pay your bill. But the thing is, investments not only go up, they also go down. So what happens when you need the money and your investments are down by 50%? Then the investment that you did for $1,000 are now worth only $500, and you sold it for $500, and now you're at loss for $500 immediately. So make sure you have enough money in your savings account. If something shows up like this, you have enough money to pay that expense rather than touching your investments. So now we jump on to our main topic, that is TFSA. TFSA is a tax-free savings account offered by the Canadian government, and the main motive of Canadian government behind this TFSA is to encourage all people to start investing into the economy and start building their long-term wealth. And the very nice part of TFSA is you don't have to pay any taxes, as the name says, tax-free savings account. So all the income that you're earning inside your TFSA, you don't need to pay any tax when you're taking the money out of your TFSA. TFSA is basically a very large umbrella under which you can hold all kind of investment, per se, stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, GICs, and of course cash in the savings account. What most of the people do is they take the definition of TFSA really seriously. They operate TFSA is just as tax-free savings account, and what they do is, as they open up the savings account in any of the bank, they just open up a savings account in the TFSA, and they think like whatever investment they're putting in the savings account in TFSA, they're not going to pay any taxes on the interest rate that they're getting on their investments. But the biggest problem with that is, even if you are going to open up a savings account in your bank and getting 2% on your savings, you are barely paying any taxes on that small 2%. So why you're wasting all that contribution limit of TFSA just using it as savings account? What we have to do, instead of using it tax-free savings account, we have to make sure we are using it as tax-free super investment account to get its fullest potential. Now we jump on to the contribution limit, what amount we can contribute to our TFSA. It's not unlimited, otherwise all the people having big bucks, they put all their money into the TFSA and don't even pay any taxes to the government. So it doesn't happen like that. So the contribution limit is, as soon as you turn 18 years, you can start investing in your TFSA and you get an initial amount of $6,000 as a contribution limit. But this $6,000 doesn't stays the same, because when TFSA started in 2009, government started as the contribution limit of $5,000 every year. Then they bumped it up to $5,500. But now in 2019 and 2020, we got $6,000 as a contribution limit. So this contribution limit changes every year. And as the next year comes up, every new year on January 1st, you get additional $6,000 as a contribution limit added to your contribution limit. But here's the thing, you don't need to rush and think like you need to fill all this $6,000 of contribution limit, otherwise you will lose the unused room. No, it doesn't happen like that. For sake, if you have $6,000 of contribution limit in this year and you're only able to put or contribute $1,000 to your contribution limit, all the $5,000 of unused room will be taken care of and it'll be transferred to your next year contribution limit. So if you're putting $1,000 in this year, when January 1st comes in, you will get $6,000 of contribution limit plus $5,000 additional limit that you didn't use past year. The best way to check how much contribution limit you have at present is to log in onto your CRA account. At there you can see how much contribution limit you have and how much you can contribute to your TFSA. But the thing to remember is whenever you're putting any contribution to your TFSA, you should make some notes so that you're not over contributing to your contribution limits, because there are serious penalties if you over contribute to the limit. For sake, if you have only limit of $6,000 but you're putting in $7,000, every single dollar that exceeds the contribution limit, you will get charged at 1% of interest rate every month. So you need to track the record how much amount you're putting in and how much room you're left with in the contribution limit. So if we talk about the rules that you need to follow while investing into your TFSA, these rules are really crucial. As I mentioned you earlier, you can start investing your TFSA as soon as you're 18 years old and you're a resident of Canada. But there are some rules related to withdrawal. But I would say it's really easy to get your money out of your TFSA, and you can get your money out of your TFSA at any point of the year and you will not get penalized, and you don't have to pay back anything to your government. But the rules related to withdrawal are, if you have $6,000 of contribution limit for a year and you already invested all the $6,000 into your contribution limit and you're maxed out, but in the mid of the year, like maybe in April, you need the $6,000 to pay out some bills, and you decide to take $6,000 out of your TFSA, it doesn't mean you can contribute another $6,000 in that year. Even after taking out that $6,000 out of your contribution limit, you are still maxed out. You cannot put a single dollar in until the next year. But as soon as the January 1st hits, you will get that $6,000 from the government that government gives every year in the January 1st, and you will also get your contribution limit back from the previous year when you took out the $6,000 out of your contribution limit. So in case you're withdrawing $6,000 out of your TFSA, when the next year hits, you will get 6,000 plus 6,000, $12,000 for your contribution limit. Another important thing is the money you're earning inside your TFSA from the investment does not decrease your contribution limit. So how does this work? For example, you have $6,000 of contribution limit for a year, but in the initial of the year, you just put in $1,000 and bought some investment, and after 2 months that investment goes up by 100%, so that $1,000 you invested into your TFSA is now worth $2,000, but that will not decrease your contribution limit, as you will be still having that $5,000 of contribution limit left for the rest of the year. So that means that doesn't matter how much your investments are growing inside your TFSA, that will not affect your contribution limit. And the great thing about the contribution limit in the TFSA is, for example, you put in $50,000 into your TFSA and you're maxed out. But after a year, that investment of $50,000 goes up in the value, and now you have $100,000 in the profits. And you sell that investment, and you have now $100,000 sitting into your TFSA, and you decide to take out that $100,000 out of your TFSA, and in the next year government will give you that $6,000 of contribution limit as per the rule, but you will also get back that $100,000 of contribution limit because you take out $100,000 from your TFSA in the last year. Isn't that amazing? But this rule also goes in the opposite direction. For example, you put $10,000 in your TFSA and you decide to put all that $10,000 in the risky penny stocks. So as the year passed by, that $10,000 investment goes down by 50%, and now you have only $5,000 left in your TFSA account. And at the end of the year, you decide to take out that $5,000 out of your TFSA. Now remember, when the next year hits, you will get that $6,000 of limit from the government, but you will only get that $5,000 of limit back that you took out in the previous year. You will not get your 10,000 limit back. As soon as you're selling anything and you're making that gain realized, you will be losing that contribution limit. Make sure, if you're having any losses in your TFSA, as if you're purchased any penny stocks or any investment that is down right at the moment, don't sell it. Don't make that gain realized until unless you are not going to make that gain realized, your contribution limit stays the same. But if you sell that stock and take the money out of the contribution limit, your TFSA contribution limit is gone forever. So now the thing is, what kind of investment you guys should hold in the TFSA to get its maximum benefits. Some people say buy growth stock in your TFSA account, but my debate is why to handle the growth stock inside your TFSA, because if you're buying a growth stock that appreciate in value, you're not going to pay any taxes until unless you are going to sell that growth stock. And if you're going to hold on to that growth stock for a long term, you are going to pay long term capital gain tax, which is very less as compared to other taxes you have to pay. So instead of holding that growth stock, you should be looking to buy dividend stocks or REITs. Dividend stocks are the stocks that pays you dividends every month or quarterly. Dividends are company gives you a little bit of money just to hold their stocks. So when you're holding those kind of stocks, like I purchased $1,000 of Coca-Cola shares and the company is paying me 3% every quarter. So I am receiving additional money while just holding on to that stock. So that is the kind of passive income I'm earning inside my TFSA. And if you look, dividends are taxed very heavily as compared to the long-term capital gains. So dividend stocks are much more beneficial to hold into your TFSA account. And REITs, what are REITs? REITs are stocks of real estate companies. REITs also provide you dividends, but they are named as distributions. Distributions are taxed even more heavily than the dividends. So the company will pay you dividends every month or quarter just to hold on to their stocks. So it is much more beneficial to hold dividend stocks or REITs into your TFSA to have its maximum potential. Now, the last part we need to discuss is the eligibility for TFSA, and this section is really important for the international students because when I was so interested to open my TFSA account and inquired about it, that can I open it or not, I went to my bank and they said no, you cannot open it. Then I went into researching into more depth and I got to know that I can really open my TFSA account. What you need to have is you need to be 18 years old and you need to hold a valid SIN. Doesn't matter you're a student or you're on the work permit or you're permanent residence. You just need to be 18 years old and you need to have a valid SIN number and you need to be a resident of Canada. To be a resident of Canada, you need to stay in the Canada for 183 days in the tax year. So if we talk about 2021, you need to stay only 183 days in the Canada and you are declared as the resident of Canada and you can open up a TFSA account and get all the benefits that Canadian government offers you. Thank you guys for watching this video to the very end. Please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.